I want to give I'll just give a 5-minute introduction in case anybody doesn't really know. Um, I raised money for and started Bookshop as a response to two problems that I saw for the future of the industry. One was Amazon's rapid growth. I thought was a real danger to the ecosystem and to independent bookstores and really every player in the ecosystem around books. Going from about 37% of BookScan sales in 2015 to over 50% of BookScan sales in 2019 was a really scary acceleration for me. And at the same time I was seeing that acceleration, I was seeing every website that I read about books on, from Book Riot to the Millions to huge websites like the BuzzFeed and the New York Times and Vox and New York Magazine. All these, every time they wrote about a book, every time they reviewed a book, every time the National Book Foundation would release the short list and long list and winners of the National Book Awards on the New Yorker's website, and the New Yorker would be linking to Amazon. And I knew that that was because Amazon had an affiliate program, and every time somebody clicked from the New Yorker and bought a book on Amazon, the New Yorker would get 4.5% of that cover price. And all these publications that are really searching for revenue streams were glomming on to Amazon's affiliate program, which was creating a big network effect that was benefiting Amazon at the expense of everybody else. So I wanted to do two things. I wanted to give small bookstores that didn't have the capacity to mount a real e-commerce strategy, a way to start selling books online, so that their customers could support them all the time. I think that many customers, probably more than we would want to admit, would go to a bookstore during the day, a bookstore that they loved, a local bookstore, and then at night, or when it was inconvenient and they needed a book, they'd buy it on Amazon. And there are bookstores like Politics and Prose, Tattered Cover, Powell's, that have done amazing jobs at getting good at selling books online and sell a ton of books online. But there's over 2,000 bookstores in the US. That's just counting ABA bookstores. And only 200 of them or so sell more than $10,000 worth of books a year through their websites. So that leaves, over 80% that aren't meaningfully participating in e-commerce. And there's all different reasons for that. Usually it's one of resources or time or tech savviness or the expense of paying somebody to build a website and then maintaining it month over month. We wanted to take all those issues away. So creating a model where Bookshop is a layer between the store and the store's customers and Ingram. Ingram ships all the books directly to the customers. The bookstores don't actually have to touch a book to sell a book. And they don't have to spend any money whatsoever. They don't have to outlay cash either on a website or on inventory. So there's no implication for their cash flow. And they get 30% of the cover price of every book that they sell. And we take care of the customer service. We take care of the picking, packing, and shipping, the inventory, all that overhead costs that are normally associated with selling a book online, we take care of. And the cost is zero, and the time to set it up is maybe a half an hour. So we wanted to take all the friction away from creating an online store and being able to sell books to your customers. So we built that, and simultaneously we built an affiliate program where anybody can become an affiliate. BuzzFeed can become an affiliate, and they did, and now they link to Bookshop all the time. We pay 10%, where Amazon paid 4.5%. And we've gradually gotten New York Magazine, Vox, the New York Times is now linking to us and Amazon. Some places are switched exclusively to Bookshop from Amazon. We're about to get Meredith and Hearst, of course, publish so many different magazines, and Condé Nast, to switch to Bookshop. Some cases switching entirely, some cases offering Bookshop as an option alongside Amazon. So Amazon's control of the affiliate market is now going to be broken. At the same time, we have over 700 stores on our platform now selling books. And while I built it because I thought that Amazon was the great threat, a more urgent threat emerged in the middle of March, which we all know was COVID-19. And it turned out that our model, where a bookstore can sell a book to a customer without touching a book, was extremely useful when booksellers were told that they couldn't go into their shops. They couldn't put their employees at risk by making their employees come and fulfill orders or online orders. And so our model turned out to be the perfect model for a COVID-19 lockdown, which made our stores go from 250 stores at the end of February to over 700 stores now. We've seen our revenue go from February when we launched, we sold $50,000 worth of books. We raised $10,000 for local bookstores. In March, we started selling $50,000 worth of books a day. In April, we started selling $150,000 worth of books a day. The past few days, we've gone well above that. My goal is to capture 1% of Amazon sales. We've already taken about 1.5% of Amazon's market share in just about 14 weeks. And Bookshop is an iterative platform where we launched with something really basic. We keep improving it. We're improving it every single week. Every week on Wednesday night, changes and improvements are rolled out. They appear on Thursday morning. And so every week it becomes a little bit of a stronger, better platform. And hopefully some people who have shops are on this call and have seen some of those improvements. They include like giving customer data to our bookstore partners. Only our bookstore affiliates get access to customer data. None of the other affiliates, including New York Times, get any customer emails or data like that. Only the bookstores do. There's a lot of other benefits the bookstores have. Bookstores, of course, have a 30% commission as opposed to a 10% commission for every other affiliate. And when every other affiliate sells a book, like the BuzzFeed sells a book, they get 10%, but an additional 10% of the cover price is also added to a bookstore profit pool. And that profit pool accumulates over time, where every affiliate sale, every sale that isn't coming from a bookstore, we give a matching 10% to bookstores. That profit pool is going to be about $1 million on July 1st when we send out our first distribution of that profit pool. And we're in the process right now of collecting all the information from the people who have signed up for that profit pool. You don't have to be a Bookshop store to get that profit pool. We don't even care if you like Bookshop. Even, you don't have to have anything to do with us to be participating in that profit pool. All you have to do is have a brick and mortar location and be an ABA member, and we'll add you to that pool and you can receive the benefit of it. And I think that while this time is going to be $1 million distributed, it's going to be much more than that the next time, because this was really for a very short time. Most of that $1 million was earned in 3 months, not the normal 6 months that we'll have. So that's kind of Bookshop in a nutshell. It's been very stressful. We're a tiny team. We're 4 people, 4 employees plus me. And then we've hired a bunch of out-of-work booksellers and stuff to handle the customer service that we've had to deal with. And we've got a bunch of software developers. But it's really a ragtag bunch that is managing to pull this off. We're all very buried in our emails. And so I'm sorry if sometimes we're not as responsive. But overall, we've done a pretty good job of holding things up together and growing in the past, 3 months. And so that's the snapshot of where we're at now. We celebrated when we broke $1 million raised for bookstores. In the beginning of April, we celebrated it reaching $2 million a week ago. Now we're at $2.6 million. So that's a total of the money that's earned by bookstores by selling to their customers, plus the bookstore profit sharing pool. So all in all, it's been a really wild ride. I'm a little exhausted right now because I've been, every day we're really working very hard. We've got a million things to deal with. Ingram has been a pretty good partner and managed to get most of our books out on time and keep their workers safe at the same time, which is really great. And, we do have some issues with the post service is having a little more problems than usual, which I'm sure that anybody that is fulfilling web orders is aware of. But overall, our customers are pretty happy. 96% of customers have no issues whatsoever. The other 4%, we try to handle as fast as we can. And we just keep making improvements and we keep doing more. It's been really meaningful during the past week of protests and, a lot of anger, a lot of despair, and a lot of turmoil. But we've also seen a huge influx of orders going into Black-owned bookstores that are on Bookshop, and people sharing reading lists and recommendations on anti-racist books and things like that. So I feel like we're making a good social impact right now and helping these Black-owned bookstores survive and in some cases really thrive, get a lot of meaningful support from their communities and other people that just wish them well. And we're really proud and happy to be able to facilitate that. And yeah, that's basically where we're at. So if we want to go to questions now, we can.
A lot of nice shout outs for a couple of nice shout outs for Sarah, responsive and so positive and helpful. Surprising number of passive sales through Bookshop. It's helping my people find their brand new store. Some thank yous. Any other questions? Any? An incredible response to dealing with what the totally unexpected increase of business that you ended up having there because of the shutdowns. So that's pretty amazing.
Yeah, it just keeps growing. I mean, the past 3 days have been really insane. We broke Ingram's systems because we were sending so many orders to them. Yesterday we sent over 20,000 orders to them for over 60,000 books, and they couldn't keep up, which is not, I think, what they expected when they signed up with us. And I can talk a lot about different aspects of Bookshop if y'all want to hear, and talk about our plans and our goals. There are 700 ABA stores that have presences on Bookshop, or maybe a little more. Sarah knows the exact number, maybe 767. So that's quite a few. And sometimes those stores have their own sites, and sometimes those stores, this is like their sole means of selling books online. We're happy either way. If you have a store and you already invested in your website, it doesn't hurt to have a store on Bookshop, because a lot of people are coming in to Bookshop because somebody on social media told them about it, or they hear a story, read a news story about it. Those customers can go to a map that allows them to choose the bookstore that they're going to purchase is going to benefit. And so having your store, if you just put your store on Bookshop and create like a nice staff picks list, you can just put it on there and forget all about it. You don't have to promote it. And you can just earn revenue from the customers who hear about Bookshop. They check the map to find their nearest local store, and they're going to choose you. And you're going to see benefits from those sales without doing anything to attract those sales. We're doing the work to attract those sales by doing the PR and the marketing efforts to get people to know about us. We've got about 4,000 to 5,000 customers go to the map to choose a store to benefit every day. So there's a lot of customers that could potentially buy from your stores just by virtue of you being on the platform. And the other thing you can do when you're on the platform is you can create staff pick lists, and you can send them to Sarah or send them to me, and we'll send them to our editor, Kevin Chow, and suggest to feature them on the homepage. If somebody buys a book off a list that you created on our homepage, you still get 30% of the cover price. So, we feel like Bookshop at its best is a kind of a buzzing hive of people who love books and want to promote books. And those lists are a great way for that love to manifest itself. And it creates a very different feeling than Amazon. Amazon feels like, an algorithm recommended a book to me. But who's ever bought a book because an algorithm told them to? People buy books because someone they care about told them to buy a book. Somebody who they trust, whose taste they respect, tells them to buy a book, then they'll buy a book. And that's what all Bookshops lists are all about. It's all people sharing their own passion and the books that they love. So if you wanted to create a Bookshop list, it doesn't take long, and you can then share it with us, and maybe we'll put it on the homepage, and you can do that as well. So there's all these different ways that you can use Bookshop, even if it's not your main site. And Another thing that people are sometimes doing is that they're adding Bookshop as a kind of find any book link on their websites, so that they're encouraging their customers to do in-store pickup or to buy from their inventory. But if something isn't in their inventory, they can then go to Bookshop to search for any book, and they can get credit for the book and not have to worry about the time it would take for Ingram to ship the book to their store, or the publisher to ship their book to their store, and then package it back up and ship it back out to the customer. It's much more efficient to just say, you can get anything you want from Bookshop, and then once it's in our chain, it's fine, it's done. The other things that I think people should understand is that we're really working on improving our conversion rates. Our conversion rates for the stores sometimes are as high as 11 or 12%. That means out of 100 people that come and view a book, 12 of the 100 are buying it. On normal e-commerce, the average conversion rate is 3 to 4%. So it's true that some stores that have their own websites, they might be getting 40% instead of 30%, or 45% instead of 30%, but they're paying for all the staffing costs and all the overhead of creating that website, fulfilling those orders, picking, packing, and shipping that order, dealing with the customer service issues that result from selling books. You don't have to do any of that when you sell a book on Bookshop. So none of that overhead cost exists. And you don't have to strain your cash flow by putting that money out to order that book, because it's our cash flow that's affected. And on top of all of the efficiencies of not having to do any overhead, our conversion rate is going to continue to improve. And so if you send out an email newsletter and 100 people click through, well, if your conversion rate is 6%, then you're going to sell 6 books. If your conversion rate is 12%, you're going to sell 12 books. If you sell 12 books and you get 30% of the cover price, it's going to be a lot more valuable than selling 6 books at 45% of the cover price. So there's all these different factors kind of hidden in e-commerce that everybody needs to evaluate when they decide what is the best strategy for selling books online. There's some things that we won't be able to do and we'll never be able to do that are really compelling reasons to have an indie commerce site or an indie light site, which are like in-store pickup is a big one. And when COVID ends, the stores that want to bring customers into their stores by selling a book to them online and having them come in and pick it up, I think that's something that is a really valuable thing. And the stores that have the resources to do it and create their own websites should do that for that reason. But overall, I think that we've proven that we can really start converting Amazon customers out of the Amazon channel into the indie channel by creating an environment that is positive, feels good, it's kind of fun to use, it's got a nice collective community feeling through all the people that are participating in it, and it's fast. You get the books fast. It just takes away all the frustration that is sometimes involved in shopping online. So that in the long run, I think we've shown already that we can take a big chunk out of Amazon. So I really think we're just in the beginning. I think that we can grow a lot from here as more and more stores pick up Bookshop, more consumer awareness builds. I think that we have so much stuff, so much more ground that we can gain on Amazon now. And something I've said in a few interviews that I've done is Silicon Valley is so obsessed with disrupting existing businesses and industries. Like you disrupt a business and you take their market. And Amazon, of course, is trying to, and doing a very good job historically at disrupting the book selling business. By now, they don't even seem to care about books. They're doing extremely well. And COVID has only increased their bottom line and increased Jeff Bezos' wealth by $300 billion, I think, or $400 billion, something absurd like that. They don't care about books anymore. we can get all the socially conscious consumers that understand the value of bookstores and the value of keeping money in their communities. We can get them to switch from Amazon, which is a destructive force for our culture and our communities, our downtowns, and just human happiness in general. It's like efficiency and price above all else creates a kind of dystopian world where we don't see our neighbors and we don't support our neighbors, and people aren't paid fair wages and they don't have good quality of life. All these other things, that the corrosiveness of just choosing the quickest, cheapest, most convenient option. If more and more people awakening to the fact that the way that they spend their money, the way that they behave as consumers is actually creating the future that they're going to live in. And those consumers are switching to Bookshop, and there's a lot more of them. We can get them all to switch. And then effectively, we're going to be undisrupting an industry. Bookshop is all about reversing the disruption of book retail and giving it back to the people and giving it back to the communities, small booksellers, the brick and mortar stores. We can't change the fact that more and more people are shopping online. We've had e-commerce as a portion of consumer activity has grown by 15% year over year for the past 15 years. Every single year it's grown by 15% because more and more people are just getting in the habit of buying stuff online. We can't change that. But what we can do is make sure that they can buy online in a way that supports their values and supports the community that they live in and the people and the things that they care about, like the culture that bookstores bring to their communities and the world, and our general culture around books. So that's our message, and that's what has really been resonating so far. Like, it's certainly been a success, like more than I had ever dreamed, and I don't think it's all because of COVID. Even before COVID hit, we were exceeding our plan and exceeding our most optimistic plan. And so, yeah, I think it's going really well, and I really hope that there are people here who have been supported by the platform. And if you're not supported by the platform right now, make sure to tell Sarah you want to be part of the profit pool, and then you can be part of the next distribution, and you can get a check from us, no strings attached. And yeah, I'm just looking forward to seeing what else we can accomplish. There's when people go through your affiliate links, Bookshop will just appear as a little powered by thing. It's your logo that they're seeing first. But we do have a few plans for that. Number one is we want customers to be able to permanently associate with a store in their profile so that they can browse Bookshop, they can come to Bookshop through any link anywhere, but yet their sales will always go to your store, even if they came in through a New York Times book review link. So that's number one. Number two is we want to be able to change the URL so the URL doesn't have to be bookshop.org/shop/LaPlaya Books. It could be laplayabooks.com, and that would help a lot. And adding event pages, God willing, we're going to have events again in the future, and adding more customization for stores to kind of make a shop their own. The packing slips, we do have the ability to add custom messages, which is in the back end in your, when you go to your profile page, there's a little box, a text box, and you can put whatever custom message you want in that, which will then appear on the receipt. Sarah, do you remember, does that appear also on the packing slip, or is that still to come? Yeah, so we're going to be working on adding that custom message in the packing slip. It's part of a bigger development effort that also includes gift receipts and allowing people to put custom messages when they buy a book as a gift for somebody. They want to be able to put a custom message on their packing slip. And it's about probably 6 weeks away, but when we do that, we will also add the ability for a store to put some custom message on the receipt as well, on the packing slip.
And for those of you with Bookshop or any other website, and Calvin, you might want to jump in here because sometimes you have better words for this. Partly in response to the fact that the customers of our stores have been sent online in such heavy ways that we've developed a summer reading program that's powered by Shelf Awareness. So it's strictly an email program with all the links that from the newsletter that tie into your selling platform, and that can indeed be your Bookshop platform. So this email can go out. Mimi's done this before. Maybe Mimi wants to come on and speak to that a little bit and how it's worked for you if you'd like to.
Yeah, sure. Hi guys.
Hi, Mimi.
With La Playa Books, and we kind of signed up with Bookshop just as everything sort of started hitting in mid-March. So we haven't really been able to do new books via our website or have an e-commerce solution for new books until Bookshop. And it's been really successful for us. So we are all in also with Shelf Awareness and have been for quite some time, where we signed up with them a long time ago. So when Bookshop and Shelf started partnering with each other, that's a great combination for us. So we've seen that be successful. And Andy, I'm super curious to hear how the pre-orders went for Bookshop in general, because we definitely got a lot of calls in the store. And I haven't had a chance to really dig into our Bookshop to see like what the pre-orders look like after that.
Yeah, I haven't had a chance to dig in either. But if you have any questions, you can always email us and we can look at it.
The deadline for bookstores to sign up for the promotion that I just put in the link there from that Kaliba and
I'm always surprised and I think that, especially in the current times, people have a higher appetite for social media and newsletters and messaging in general. So people don't seem to be getting mad and unsubscribing.
Oh, and I think more than ever, this opportunity to keep our customers engaged with our websites. So Bookshop helps with that, with keeping them linked to their stores, because back in the physical world, you had browsers. We don't always have browsers now. So play to your loyalists, give them book lists, give them Shelf Awareness lists, send them to your Bookshop list. Like, keep them engaged with what you're doing because they want to be that.
They've gotten comfortable with it too. They're happy to
Finally.
Yeah, so it's a good thing.
Because before COVID, La Playa Books, we're a physically small store, used and new, and we were 80% used and 20% new. We're fortunate that we also did a lot of effort with our collectibles in this moment in the COVID times, and that's been very successful for us. But if you take out that piece of our business, now we're 80% new books and 20% used books because that's such a browser heavy market. So things like Bookshop have really helped us, flip the script a little bit so that we can continue to create income. And the benefit to us of Bookshop is we have to do zero work and the books just go to where they're supposed to go and the money just comes into our pocket. So other than promoting it, there's nothing else that you have to do. So I get that there are people that want it to look more like them. I would love it for it to look more like La Playa Books. I get that there are ways to make more margin, but right now we're ordering so much from Ingram and so much like direct to home to our store instead of to customers. It's not super profitable. So it's pretty hard for me to justify that we're not making the margins that we would make from Bookshop. So for us, it's a very streamlined and pretty profitable option and solution.
Thank you.
Any Bookshop skeptics in the room that want to question anything that we're doing? Or, we're always very happy to address any concerns that anybody has. We're really here for you. And if there's things that you feel like are threatening in any way or something that we're not doing quite right, just please let us know.